Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. First of all, what we're discussing is T20 cricket in detail. International T20 cricket continues. Afghanistan have beaten Sri Lanka in the third T20 international by a very low margin, I must say. But the margin was not low enough. The difference was low enough. So just that, when you talk about the runs, both of the teams scoring above 200 runs and Sri Lanka just falling short. But Afghanistan played brilliantly to score 209 runs and 206 by Sri Lanka. So just 3 runs deficit between the two teams. But we've got to talk about the way these performances have been. Zazai finally came to the party, and him and Gurbaz played exceptionally well for Afghanistan up front. But I do see a critical problem with Afghanistan, which I want to discuss. And of course, Sri Lanka, like I said, they tried their best, but unfortunately, they were 3 runs short. But they're still 2-1 in the series. So, you got to give it to Sri Lanka. Then, of course, we move on and we discuss Australia up against New Zealand. Australia's dominance continues, but the fact is that New Zealand have been a very, very terrific side across formats. I mean, if we talk about the entire world, when you look at across format players, Rachin Ravindra is certainly going to be one of them. And then Mitchell Marsh and his brilliance leading the Australian side. We'll discuss that particularly as well. Both these teams, of course, once again above 200. So I think the thing to note here, or to talk about, or to discuss, is that 200 is the new 150. So I think that is very critical that we discuss this in detail. Time now to introduce our guest, but before that I also have to tell you that there are more things that we'll be talking about on Sports Extra as well. First of all, under 16 youth cricket is always very, very important, and we'll talk about the concept. 16 regional teams have been divided into 3 pools of under 16 as well. Of course, Pool A and B have been divided into 5 teams, while Pool C will have 6 teams as well. So we, of course, will discuss this in detail. Then, of course, we move on to football and give you the latest of developments from the world of football, where we do talk about Saudi football, Saudi Pro League as well, which has, of course, been the highlight. And what we're seeing is that a lot of focus now in football is going there as well. So the quality, it's very important to discuss it in detail. And then, of course, we move on to rally racing, where the Cholistan Jeep Rally continues. Qualifying is underway, and like I said, the most toughest terrain that we have, and very, I think, technical as far as the drivers are concerned and their machines. So it's exhilarating for both the concept of machines and the drivers as well, and a lot of problems that need to be taken care of once you're riding on the Cholistan Jeep Rally circuit as well. So we'll discuss that. Time now to introduce the guest in studios. First of all, we've been joined by our cricket expert. He's a cricket commentator, he's an international broadcaster and presenter, and also covers various sports on our program as well. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm perfect. And how about yourself?
I'm very well, sir. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. We've also been joined by sports expert, Mr. Rizwan Haider. Assalamu alaikum, Rizwan. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Right, Asif, first of all, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. We discussed the second T20 as well, but now in the third one, Afghanistan finally made a comeback, but it felt like that it was a one-off. The fact is that they managed to breach that psychological power of 200 runs. They scored 209. Zazai and Gurbaz, with their solid partnership, were instrumental. How do you see this victory?
Well, generally, Afghanistan is a very good T20 side when we talk about their abilities, their power hitting. Yes, they have a couple of good hitters, like you were mentioning some name like Zazai and Gurbaz. The problem with Zazai, even they have won this last T20 against Sri Lanka, but I must say that Zazai has the same problem with Fakhar Zaman is suffering actually. Both of these kind of players, they only target one area, and that is their favorite area, that is the cow corner or mid-wicket. Mid-wicket most probably, not the cow corner, because if you want to play towards cow corner or in the long on area, you require better timing, you require perfect execution as well. When you play with cross bat, eventually the bowlers, they do understand your problem. And I think Zazai, whenever you bowl him a short pitch delivery with variation, slow one, or if you just try to bowl him away from the body, if he's not getting proper width, I think he's struggling. In this innings, yes, he played well with Rahmanullah Gurbaz. Why we are criticizing him? Because, it's a fluke. I mean, you're playing 10 games out of 10, only you're performing in a couple of games and rest 7-8 games, your team is struggling just because of your poor effort or bad performances. I think Rahmanullah Gurbaz, he's learning. Good thing is that now he's playing list A and first class cricket for the Afghanistan, because the Afghanistan players have the same problem with the Pakistani players. They don't play first class cricket. Now Afghanistan Cricket Board, just because of some senior Pakistani pros, they are working there as in coaching staff. Imran Farhat and Rana Naveedul Hassan. I had a discussion with them. What they are trying to do, they are just trying to improve the structure of domestic cricket, which is really good. And according to them, Rahmanullah Gurbaz now he's trying to play the long format cricket like ODI, list day cricket, and 4-day cricket, and that's why he is now improving. Good thing is in this innings, I appreciate he was trying to play towards long off, long on. He didn't try to go for the cut or flick or even towards square leg. So if you want to become a great player, then you'd have to improve your technique and you'd have to show some consistency in your performance. So I think Rahmanullah Gurbaz is okay, but overall they got a victory which was really good for them, because right before the World Cup, when your team is under process, your team is under practice, if you are getting these kind of victories, it will definitely give you some confidence.
Well, certainly, Rizwan, Afghanistan a T20 side, that narrative has been there for quite some time now. But the fact is that, what Asif mentioned as well, that mostly once they're looking at cross-batted shots, that's what troubles them the most as well. So, if they can find somebody as technical as Rahmanullah Gurbaz, who is, a certain talent that is playing across formats, they can improve that structure as well.
Well, after such a long essay by K. Asif, he's explained everything in detail, how everyone plays and what the problem is. But I think the main problem with Afghanistan is, I don't agree with that, the fact that Afghanis don't play first-class cricket. The problem is they don't have access to first-class cricket. They need facilities, they need grounds, and they need peace where they can go and play first-class cricket. The problem with Pakistani players is they don't play first-class cricket on purpose. They want to, play T20 cricket, different leagues and all that. So you have to make sure that the board is strong enough and make sure that the players play first-class cricket for Pakistan. And for the Afghanistan board, they need to have a place where they can, even if it's Pakistan or India or Afghanistan or Sri Lanka, but they should have a first-class structure where they have 6 or 8 teams who play regularly, and that's how they'll be groomed. Because Rahmanullah Gurbaz is an example, he's an exceptional player. Without access to first-class cricket and long matches, he still does very, very well. But Zazai and the others, they need exposure to that sort of cricket. They're very, very brilliant, exuberant, and can have match-winning innings, but in the long run, they need consistency, and that only comes with first-class cricket.
Yes, Asif, you'd like to add to that?
Well, actually, Rizwan bhai, because I personally visited Kabul, so I had a chance to see their first-class or domestic structure. So good thing is that now they're working on it, and the different provinces, Khost, Kandahar, and Nangarhar, now they are properly working on the infrastructure, and they got some very good stadiums where now they're organizing their domestic cricket. So I think the way they have started, and in T20 cricket, of course, they're doing so well. What we do require in ODI performances, and if you see their performance in ODI in the last World Cup, in ODI World Cup, I think it's progressing well, isn't it?
It is, definitely.
Well, infrastructure development is key over here as well. And I think when we talk about, but Asif is right, because when he came back from that trip, all he could talk about was the delicious food he was having, and he would, keep on bragging about it. And all of us were putting our heads to the wall. But cricket was the subject as well. But it always was combined with good food. So Asif has been, torturing us to that extent. But the good thing to note is, Rizwan, is that the talent pool is certainly there. Even if you look at their under-19 teams as well, there's a lot of talent. And because they've been able to produce a couple of names which are renowned now throughout the world, it really helps because it becomes a trickle-down effect.
I think they've got nothing to worry about as far as batting is concerned, top-order batting. They need somebody in the middle. Similarly, spinners, they've got pretty decent spinners coming up. But I think the problem with me is the fast bowlers. They haven't got anybody to look up to. For a Pathan physique, all Pakistan's fast bowlers are generally from that area, from the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area. So it's really surprising that the natural talent from Afghanistan isn't coming in. And once you get naturally gifted fast bowlers, then it's very, very easy to groom them. But you've got, Naveedul Hassan and the others, military medium sort of bowlers. The sort of bowlers who you want to have in English conditions. But in Afghanistan, they're playing. And they're delivering pretty well as far as the shorter format is concerned. But when it comes to test match cricket, they need to have proper fast bowlers and proper players.
Asif, that is a very important subject over here, because I remember as far as when Zadran was there as well, and at that time that breed of fast bowlers was certainly there. Even at the current moment, they've enjoyed Fazlak Farooqi has been there, Kareem Jannat has been there as well himself as a fast bowler. They've got certain fast bowlers who can play the brand of cricket that they want to play now. But obviously, you've got to stretch the structure further and keep on producing as much backup as you can.
Well, I think it relates to your domestic structure. If your domestic structure is good and the fast bowlers coming from there, then of course you can take an opportunity to give them chances into the national team. But even Pakistan is struggling in that department, that we're not getting good fast bowlers, just because you know that we had a discussion other day as well, yesterday as well, that
Priorities, basically.
Priorities, yeah,
Yes.
that either you are trying to set your goal just franchise cricket and you aren't available for your national side just because of the busy schedule. I think that's the problem. But I think you have taken a couple of names. Firstly, Farooqi, once again, that with the white ball, he's okay. That and if you Kareem Jannat, Rizwan Bhai was talking about their medium pace bowlers. You don't have express fast bowlers, but I have seen couple of good youngsters in Kabul Premier League.
On the
But
domestic front, yeah.
yeah. But once again, the question is either they will play only franchise cricket, T20 cricket, or they will just try to concentrate on white ball cricket, and will they go for the red ball cricket or not? That's the question. So
Asif, sorry, you know, for red ball cricket, you need to have stamina, and for that you need structure. You need to have the ability and the endurance to go and play, you know, bowl 20-25 overs a day.
Actually,
this is what I'm saying.
yes, we discussed that yesterday as well, how one of our so-called star bowlers has just played 9 first-class games. On the other hand, even Siraj has more than, 40 games or 30, 40 games. So that makes a huge difference. And I agree. I think that is the case as well. But the problem right now, Asif, what I'm seeing is that there's been too much dependency, and I mean too much dependency, on their mystery spinners to produce results, especially in terms of all-round performance. They've relied a lot on Mohammad Nabi, Rashid Khan, of course, to an extent, we've had spinners like Mujib, yes, who they've relied on to produce magical results. But the problem is, once you remove them from the equation, for example, Rashid isn't playing, a lot of pressure on Nabi now. Once you remove them from the equation, then they tend to struggle, which is something that in the World Cup they need to worry about.
They are preparing themselves for the upcoming T20 World Cup. So they're giving rest, they're giving chances to the other players, which is really good. They have a very good prospect, Noor, left-arm spinner, Chinaman. I think the way he has...
Cas Ahmed as well.
Cas Ahmed as well. I think Cas, once again, I don't consider him, as a top-notch bowler. But see, Noor has proved himself in the previous ODI World Cup, left-arm Chinaman. And then Rashid Khan, of course, match winner. He always remains in the top ranking, in the ODI ranking. And then Mujib. They have 2-3 good spinners. Now they're looking to get some other prospects in T20 cricket. But in T20 cricket, of course, their spinners, they're ruling, and their match changes. They've done some magical stuff for Afghanistan. In T20 cricket, yes, they're okay. Once again, the problem is the ODI and Test cricket. Recently, they were playing Test cricket in Sri Lanka, and we have seen that their batters even struggling. So for me, if you have good batters, this is what we had discussed yesterday, that the Pakistan had very good batters in the middle order. You have taken some names like Zamamul Haq, Mohammad Yusuf, and Yunus Khan. These kind of, in Pakistan cricket, even Pakistan struggling in the middle order, just because that the Pakistan Cricket Board not putting, emphasis on domestic cricket. They're not giving importance. They're not giving proper respect to the players who are performing in domestic cricket. So that's the problem. And I think Afghanistan Cricket Board is now working on these kind of problems. They got a list that we're struggling in this department. They are very good fielders, as Rizwan Bhai was saying, that if you talk about their physique, their body, they're really strong, and even Pakistani fast bowlers all coming from KPK. It means that everything and all of the components are there. They only require some coaching and the infrastructure.
Well, is that a subject, Rizwan, if you talk about that there's been too much dependency on Rashid Khan, on Nabi, or Mujib to produce results immediately? For example, they've been relying a lot on, if you talk about Rahmanullah Gurbaz right now. And in between, if something goes haywire, that's where that struggle starts, and that's where inconsistency comes? Because if you want to win ICC tournaments, probably you need more.
Well, the problem with Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka in the recent past for me has been that they've been preparing very, very well for the bilateral series, but not preparing themselves for the World Cups and their trophies, and that's the problem. If you see what's happening in Australia, Santner is captaining New Zealand, Mitchell Marsh is captaining Australia. We can't do that here. India's been doing that. India's been doing that in the last 3-4 years. You've seen, Hardik Pandya's captained, Shikhar Dhawan captained the team. So we are struggling with that. Similarly, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. Until and unless you make sure that these bilateral series, other than test series, the one day and T20 are here for you to try out your combinations without worrying about losing. You can't have that. But the question that you put in was that whenever you get a player who's bigger than the team, that becomes a problem, because end of the day, you saw that with India, Sachin Tendulkar, the best batsman ever produced, probably after Sachin, after Bradman. But end of the day, India didn't win anything abroad. Even at home, they were winning because of the spinners. So that becomes a problem. But when Ganguly came in, when Dravid came in, and they became a team, they started gelling together. They had the right captain at the right place. They had the right combination. They started winning. And that maturity started from Ganguly to Dhoni and so on. And India is the only team from subcontinent to have won 2 test match series in Australia. Similarly, they've always been okay. They've not won many trophies as far as cups are concerned, but they're always there in the semi-finals and the finals. As far as we are concerned, we are always there or thereabouts at 4th, 5th, 6th position, sometimes not even qualifying for the semi-final, sometimes not even being in the race, because Babar for Pakistan right now is bigger than the team, Shaheen is bigger than the team, Rizwan is bigger than the team. So we are reluctant to try out combinations in the white ball cricket because of Babar, because of Shaheen, because of Rizwan.
Well, I think that is probably region oriented now. It's not just subject to that. But Sri Lanka, Asif, we talked about them as well at the same time, that they've got the talent, they've got the resources. Unfortunately, they've been a bit haywire as well with captaincy and certain issues. But it's important for them to find stability in the world of cricket as well.
Well, of course, that that when you see the Sri Lankan young side, they have good players like Patham Nishanka, Mendes, Kusal Mendes, and then some couple of good seniors like Angelo Matthews. But the question is, you require 5-6 match-winning players. If we talk about Pakistan side, 1999, that was the strongest side. We had 7 or 8 match-winning players, and Pakistan qualified for the final. Unluckily, we didn't win because in the final we were not okay with our decisions, because we see the way batters they have played well, but that's the problem with the Pakistan, and it's a trademark that we don't play good in big matches. But in Sri Lanka, after Angelo Matthews, could you see any star? Patham Nissanka is there, Kusal Mendes, yes, their Hasranga spinner, but you cannot see players like Mahila Jayawardene and Kumara Sangakkara. So that's why the Sri Lankan team, they're not performing well in ICC tournaments like T20 World Cup or ODI World Cup. So their structure is somehow this region, subcontinent region, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. India, they have worked on their cricket board, and they have given some freedom to the decision makers. They have taken good decisions, and now the Indian cricket, they are on the right path, as Rizwan Bhai was saying, that the way Ganguly and Dravid, they work with their team and they're able to get victories in Australia. So that's the problem with the Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Bangladesh now, and somehow Afghanistan.
But surprisingly, Rizwan, what I see is that Sri Lanka still tends to do well in test cricket rather than white ball formats.
I'll just take Asif's argument a little further and say that him saying that Sri Lanka struggles in tournaments, white ball tournaments, because they haven't got a star. Well, Pakistan has got stars. Babar, Shaheen, Rizwan, the 3 biggest stars that you have, and Pakistan is also struggling in white ball tournaments. We're doing pretty well in.
But Rizwan Bhai, I had said that you require 5-6 stars to win a tournament, not only 2-3.
Asif, I personally think that New Zealand has done well in the recent tournaments without major stars other than Kane Williamson. They worked as a team. So there are two different approaches. You can have big stars like the West Indies cricket team of the 80s, or you can have a combination of players who gel together in their roles and do very well. Can you repeat the question, please?
First of all, I think 4 is the number, but then again, what I'm asking is that they surprisingly tend to do well in Test cricket, Sri Lanka. Their batters tend to do technically well in Test cricket.
I think their first-class cricket, actually their school cricket is
Yes.
very good, and that's the reason that they continuously keep playing school cricket, and they play a lot of cricket. They are actually playing almost similar, or rather more Test match cricket than Pakistan is at the moment, and that's the problem. We are actually playing 7 to 8 Test matches a year, which is not just good enough for our quality. And then we see our players, even saying that we don't even want to be part of the team, like Haris Rauf in the recent example, and Shaheen Afridi dropping himself from in a Test match in Australia. Something that would have been unheard of in the 80s or the 90s or for even 2000s, that you drop yourself for a one day or a local game because for a Test match in Sydney, that's unheard of. And that's the reason Sri Lankan board is strong enough. Hasaranga hasn't been playing recently because of that, because the board is strong enough. They make sure that you can play a certain number of leagues, but then whenever national duty comes in, you're available for that. And that's one of the reasons of their success.
Absolutely. And I think on that note, we do shift our focus to Australia and New Zealand as well, because that has been another game that we need to look out for. But I think let's just go towards a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss things in detail and also discuss the fact that 200 is now the new normal in T20 cricket. Right after this short break. Stay tuned. Right, welcome back. And now it's Australia and New Zealand. Terrific performance from Rachin Ravindra, Mitchell Marsh, everyone we can talk about. But the brand of cricket, Asif, that Australia and New Zealand are playing right now, especially Australia because they're dominating all formats, both of them look to be the favourites in the T20 World Cup.
Yes, for me, the way they are playing and of course the way New Zealand and Australia, they've played last T20, that was absolutely brilliant. A top-notch game, a thrilling game, nail-biter. Everyone enjoyed, and they fought till the last delivery, and they made sure that we will win this game, and that's why they have done it. You were talking about Mitch Marsh. Yesterday I was talking about his abilities. He's so good with the horizontal bat. You call it that he plays, hairy-fairy shots? For me, no, because this is his favorite area, and his execution is so perfect. So whenever he plays, it goes out of the boundary.
He's very good in your favourite area. Down the ground, he's absolutely brilliant.
Yes, that's the thing. And Rachin Ravindra, special talent, to be very honest. The way he plays over the bowler's head, the way he plays towards long off, long on, how strong nerves he has. And the credit goes to the school cricket of New Zealand. This is what Rizwan Bhai was referring that point. And Rachin Ravindra, 22, 23 years of age. Yesterday, Kashif Majid was talking about his first-class career. That's the key. 46 first-class games, and look at his average, 45. So I think when you are giving respect and importance to your first-class cricket, then you get talent, then you get class. And that's why Pakistan was getting players like Inzamamul Haq, Mohammad Yusuf and Yunus, the way they were performing so well in Qaeda Azam Trophy, and then you were bringing them into the national side, and they were giving proper respect to the domestic cricket. Nowadays, the things are different. People are just concentrating on franchise cricket.
Absolutely. I think that narrative is certainly there as well, but the brand of cricket that they play, obviously, and they've got franchises of themselves as well. Rizwan, if you look at the Big Bash League and you look at whatever Australia is producing over there, it's an insane amount of cricket talent that we see. But even with Mitchell Marsh now captaining, or for Australia, I say that, with each player, they've got a necessary backup as well. If they lose one wicket, the other one will come and, continue the same strategy that they've decided. So the planning and the execution is 110%.
And come to think of it, Mitchell Marsh is son of Jeff Marsh,
yes,
the Mudassar Nazar of Australian cricket.
Yeah.
So, and the way he plays, it's just amazing.
And if you ask this question, Rizwan Bhai, to your youngster, that who is Mudassar Nazar, definitely they don't know that. Who
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was one of the best openers Pakistan ever produced before Saeed Anwar came into the picture. The point of the matter is that Australia won the game yesterday, but the way New Zealand played and competed till the very end was amazing. Of course, it was a good batting wicket, but getting 215 against an Australian attack, whatever the conditions and whatever the pitch is like, that's no joke. And the worst strike rate was that of Devon Conway. He struck at 136.5, which is better than the career average of Rizwan and Babar and most of the Pakistan team. The whole team, even if you got 19, it was at 190. If you got 30, it was at 170. It's just amazing. And for T20 cricket to keep on attacking the ball for the 20 overs continuously is a very, very tough ask. And Australia and New Zealand both did it. Batting first, I've always felt batting first, Pakistan is generally clueless what to put on the board. After 5 years, they realize that this is a 160 pitch or a 200 pitch, and then it's always too late.
But let's just come to that argument of 200 being the new normal now in T20 cricket.
It is. I'm not a big fan of the new 200, but I think even T20 220 is going to be the new normal in T20 cricket. The way they're shortening the boundaries, and it's just giving too much respect to the batsmen, putting everything against the bowlers. If you keep on doing that, you're not going to have many fast bowlers and spinners coming up. Because franchise cricket, there is nothing in the bowler, for the bowler, no balls, wides, everything is in favor of the batsman, and that just really puts me off. I think there should be something for the bowlers. It should be a competitive match. 170, 160 should be a decent target, the way it was in the first 5 to 6 years.
You're talking about that. Sorry, Ahmed, I'm.
No, please go ahead. I like this argument already.
See, I always love to sit with Rizwan Bhai because most of the time we agree and sometimes we disagree. But Rizwan Bhai, the question is, what you want something extra from the bowlers? See, they're getting new ball. If they want to swing the ball, this is now their class. If they want to, come up with an extra pace, they should work on their fitness. Let's talk about the spinners. We don't have, an extraordinary off spinner in the cricket world. Why the people are not working on a different skills? That's the problem.
I think no balls, wide balls, LPW decisions are favoring the batsman too much. Especially for a left-arm bowler, if you just pitch it across down the leg and then the favor is it goes in favor of the batsman. So these are some of the things. Similarly, the boundaries being shortened. You're getting sixes. It's not sixes, it's sixes. Because it's just 45, 50 yards from the boundary. You need to have 90, 95 yard boundaries to make sure that the bowlers have a chance, the fielders have a chance of stopping, catching. And that's where I feel that the fitness concerns are coming in, because the shorter boundaries, suddenly they go into one-day cricket and test match cricket, they just get tired of running in the ground. Similarly, the bowlers are not getting enough stamina or to bowl longer duration spells. They're not concentrating because of the money involved. The players are just not concentrating on long-term fitness.
Rizwan Bhai, as batters, they have created some new shots. Let's talk about A.B. de Villiers and some other batters, Glenn Maxwell.
Hold on. Yes, absolutely agreed. The batsmen have created many shots, but the bowlers, everything they try, it gets banned. Tampering the ball and all that. No sand allowed. No bottle tops allowed.
So these are illegal things in cricket. You cannot do that. So you should work on your fitness.
The new variations,
the way they've improved the bats, that's also in favor of the batsman. You just touch it just goes for a four.
Well, I think the bowlers need to evolve at a constant pace. Somebody like Abbas Afridi at a young age is doing that. Once he was drafted into the Pakistan side, we probably saw that. If you go a little back as well, once the knuckle ball came in, then 3-4 kinds of slow deliveries, everything is in between. But at the same time, even with the 200s plus as well, if you just look at Australia and New Zealand, they still have enough talent up their sleeve. I mean, I would still say Tim Southee becomes one of the best bowlers across formats, even in T20 cricket, Asif.
Yeah, Tim Southee, see, he's playing cricket for a long time. He's a very senior pro. And this is what I was discussing, that if you got abilities, come up with variations. And fast bowlers like Trent Boult, Jasprit Bumrah, and Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, they're all, they're classy bowlers. And it does not matter what kind of conditions are. The pitch is supporting to the batters. But even then, they will try to bowl with proper line or length, and they create the difference. Jasprit Bumrah always, and we had a fast bowler from England. I forgot his name.
Wood?
Chris Jordan, I think.
No, not Chris Jordan. I'll tell you later. But these kind of fast bowlers, they're equally good in all kind of formats. Either they're playing T20, ODI, or Test cricket. So
Are you
I
talking about
think-
Chris Wokes?
No, that wasn't Chris Wokes. Why I'm forgetting his name?
The
It's-
current brothers,
No.
who is left in England now? I've discussed all the fast bowlers that England have
Now he's
produced in
suffering with the injury there.
right now.
Yes, is not playing. He's not in this side, in English side. But see that if you have the variations, you're working on your fitness, you have the proper goal, and if you're coming with the proper plan like Jasprit Bumrah and Mitchell Stark, you create difference.
Absolutely.
You put pressure on the batters. It's not always that the batters are enjoying, but if you have abilities, the bowlers are also enjoying.
And I think you give a good example because Jasprit Bumrah, Pat Cummins, these kind of bowlers, the length that they exploit is so dangerous for any batter that it's absolutely confusing. So they're basically not just troubling you with the variation of pace, but with the variation of length is where they're
Yes.
troubling you as well. So
And
that's
as,
very important.
You can see the stats of Logie Ferguson in this match, the way he bowled, where the other bowlers, they were beaten up. He was so good with his line of length and created the difference and changed his variations, changed his line of length, and he was so effective.
Even Mitchell Stark, I think he's a very underrated bowler. He's got to be, amongst the top T20 bowlers right now in the world.
Yeah, rightly said that. But why we're not getting the name of that English bowler, dear?
We're going to sit on that. We're going to figure it out and then let you know on social media. Asif needs to give us a couple of hints so we can, judge that fast bowler as well. I've named everyone I could think of. The Curran brothers.
Broad?
No, it's not Stuart Broad, I think. Stuart Broad, Anderson are the past, but right now, is he playing recently as well?
No, he's not playing. Actually, he's suffering injury for a long time.
You're talking about Jofra Archer.
Jofra Archer, yeah.
Get an extra point over
Jofra
there.
Archer, yeah. Now, let's talk about his abilities. That how good he was, though he's suffering with the injury. But he, the way he has started his career, the entire world was talking about his abilities.
He was quick. He was really quick, I think, and the way he was exploiting those shorter deliveries as well. Even we remember that initial Ashes series when Steve Smith got hit multiple times. So that's where the headlines started coming from. And I agree. But then again, you got to manage yourself very smartly. Then you become a very, I think, short-lived bowler if you're injury prone as well. But Rizwan, then what is the real art then to construct an innings now? Because now we've got an added terminology of that power hitting. And why it troubles me the most is that for a team like Pakistan in ICC tournaments, especially in T20s, for us 200 is a nightmare.
I think if you look at Pakistan's past 30 or 40 games, every time they've won the toss, they've decided to bowl. They've decided to chase because they're scared of batting first. As I said earlier, every time they win the toss, they haven't got a clue.
And my apologies for the interruption. That is across
across
cricket.
formats.
Even under 19 cricket has been doing that as well. They're scared to bat first.
And one-day internationals.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a scary thing. For a team to win on a regular basis, you need to be ready for all conditions and all circumstances. 50-50 the toss is. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose. If you see the T20 series against England, the World Cup after that, and the T20 series recently versus New Zealand, every time we won the toss, we decided that we're going to field and chase later on. And every time the other team won the toss, in international cricket, in tournaments, they decided to chase as well. But in bilateral series, they gave us the opportunity to bat just in case so that, they see how Pakistan bats. And it's very, very easy to target Pakistan. There's no planning. Every time you go against Pakistan, you realize that if you win the toss, you put them in, you're in with a chance. And for even chasing wise, Pakistan team is has a comfort zone of about 160 to 175 where they're very comfortable chasing. Rizwan and Babar are going to get you all the runs in the world. And anytime it goes over 190, I think they've won about 2 games and we've made such a big hoorah out of that, you've forgiven all their crimes for that. So that's a criminal thing. I think personally, every time you win, you should 50% of the time in bilateral series, you should bat first. See where you go wrong and then try and implement that. That's the only way you're going to be successful in the World Cup. If you keep doing that, not batting first, then in the World Cup, as we saw in the one International World Cup and the last 2 T20 World Cups, we lost out because of that.
I agree, but Asif, do we work psychologically? Do we work, what kind of training then needs to go into make sure that your team is equipped to go beyond 200, 220 runs now?
First, we should work with honesty and right person on the right place. That's really important. Some people, they do talk about that we had, franchise cricket, we have national T20, and now we are giving chances to the players like Azam Khan, Saim Ayub is okay, but do remember, when you're not doing justice with the players, you cannot bring and produce results. Let's take an example of Tim David. He was in Singapore and he was playing cricket there. He came to Pakistan, he came to other countries for the franchise cricket, he performed, and suddenly the Australian Cricket Board said, thank you, come up and play for the Australia. So we require these kind of efforts there.
Something I think which the best example in cricket you can find of Owen Morgan, his career.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then once again, your personal approach, your personal thinkings, your personal goals, what you are thinking for yourself. Either you're going for the, your financial benefits,
incentives,
financial incentives or benefits, or you're going for the national cause and for the national duties. I think that we require a huge change in the mindset.
I think I'll just like to add another name to that, Imran Tahir. We lost him. Instead of getting somebody else to play like Owen Morgan, to play for an Irish person to play for England, we lost somebody of the talent of Imran Tahir. Why?
Yeah,
because of the failure of our system. I think simple as that.
Because of Danish Canaria.
Yes, well, but I think it's not just him as well. Even at that time, had Pakistan thought of prioritizing players on the basis of formats, it would have been different, because even then you had 2 formats, at least one day and test cricket. Now you moved on to 3 formats. So I think but then again, every once in a while you find players who are playing pretty well across formats. And
I think another problem is our flaw in finding the right talent for the right place. I mean, Haris Rauf coming from Australia, because Lahore Qalandar took him to Australia and he did well, and that's why he came and played first class cricket here and T20 cricket.
And just 9 matches.
whatever. I agree that it's wrong, but he wasn't identified. Similarly, Imran Qadir Usman Qadir went to Australia, and then when he was called up for the Australian team, suddenly we called him back and say, you play a couple.
Even if you go in the past, Fawad Alam was debuted in T20 cricket initially, in one-day cricket. So and then of course Pakistan realized that after wasting his 10 years, he's a test cricketer. So I think phenomenal stuff done there as well. But I'm glad that things are now moving in the right direction. So it's very important that you set the standards very high as well. And if there is any leaf that we can take out of Australia and New Zealand, Asif, is that you need to keep evolving with modern day cricket. If you're stuck in a phase, you won't be able to produce results, no matter how many superstars you can produce.
Well, I think that I had said earlier that you require justice in your system. You have taken a couple of names. Rizwan Bhai was mentioning Imran Tahir, some other players, Usman Qadir. See, in recent time, why you're not bringing Bilal Asif into this discussion? See, Pakistan is struggling so hard. We are finding spinners. We don't have spinners. We had a perfect off spinner, but we lost him.
Well, my question is, why did you drop him? I think I still go back to that same question. That if he was in the side, then you should have given him consistency. Across the world, we see examples. Even Ravichandra Ashwin, who is now the most successful spinner over there, would have had a huge rough patch, but he was always in India's system. Even if we move on to other countries, for a player like Johnny Bairstow, who kept on failing, England managed to develop him into a player who could fit in all 3 formats.
I personally think Nathan Lyon would not have become a star had he been a Pakistani. He wouldn't have even gotten 50 test wickets.
Absolutely, he's had his patch as well. So why is it, Asif, that and there is another example of Abid Ali, who underwent a medical condition and was completely ignored from the Pakistan structure as well. So there are so many examples we can come
Well, that's why, Ahmed, I'm saying that we should do justice. And we should change the mindset, and that is the only, nepotism is everywhere in Pakistan. And sorry to say, if you talk about the Azam Khan, why he is in the Pakistan side, you will find how...
Hold on, I just remembered. Azam Khan brings balance to the side.
If the other team, has marked him already, that he's struggling with a quicker ball throughout the middle, I think it's been the discussion is off, that he's not getting enough. I mean, for your former team director to go on to say that the reason we dropped him is that we didn't want him to be under psychological pressure that he's not performing. Even if the right way to go about it was not drop him. No. Give him the entire quota of matches at least.
See, Bilal Asif went to Bangladesh. He was in the squad. He didn't play single match, and in the next tour he was not in the side.
Because you found a new Ajanta Mendis in cricket, Abrar Ahmed. You thought you're a mystery spinner now. So you thought everything is going to be fine, and I bet you that Iftikhar Ahmed was bowling better than
But
Abrar.
what's the mystery about Abraz bowling? Does he spin the ball or he doesn't spin the ball with the action?
I think that he himself doesn't know which way the ball is going to turn. So that's the big mystery.
I haven't seen the
over
ball turning, you know, other than if off the pitch sometimes occasionally.
there. Like I said, I think.
But the good thing is that we have taken him after performing. He performed well in Qaid-e-Azam Trophy, so he got a chance because he has taken. He was the.
But if I'm not wrong, if the name is correct, Arif Yaqub, I think, the leg spinner right now.
Yes, yes,
He's
he is
performed
from-
brilliantly.
Yeah, but
So
that was in
do you
the-
fast track him into the system as well now?
Well, I think that if he got lobbying and if he got some, good social media manager, he'll get the chance.
Are you applying for the job?
No.
Well, certainly, but Rizwan and Asif, thank you very much for joining us. One thing is for sure that 200 or 220 now is the new normal in T20 cricket, and I think once we move on to the baseball turned cricket grounds in US and especially T20 oriented ground in the West Indies, we might see 200 being a frequent jargon. So we need to equip ourselves for that as well. On that note, from me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.